I already did this live to show how to paint the clouds, but somebody reached out to me and said, hey, we want to know what's going to happen with the clouds. You talked about a dragon. Well, all right, here's the dragon. Let's go ahead and get this. Oh gosh, I got to try and adjust this so that it's going to work right. Hang on. Like I've told people before, I'm not a professional YouTuber. What I am is I'm a professional painter. So, okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get this dragon painted in here and give you guys an idea. Now, a lot of what I'm going to do is what I call cheating. All right, the way that I like to cheat is I don't have to put in a ton of detail if instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get an emotion portrayed. So in this case, the emotion is we want, what would it be like if a dragon were sitting out here and had been killed by a giant sword? And boy, that is a giant sword. What would it be like if a dragon had been out here like this? So, I mean, this dragon's been here for a long time, so we're going to use makeup brushes again, by the way, in most of this. Let's just go ahead and get some of these details painted in. And the makeup brushes are going to do a lot of my work for me. I'll show you how. Let's use this brush right here. And I'll pull this down across these areas that I want in shadow. And I tell people all the time, I cheat when I go for my paintings. And I create detail without creating detail. I'm going with the illusion of detail. So right now we're going to go with the illusion of all this drag marks, but the brush is going to do most of the work for me. So, okay. All right, yeah, it's working. All right. Doesn't look like anyone's tuned in, but that's all right. This will probably go on my profile later, so. Okay, the wings of the dragon. Now, these are going to be kind of translucent, so I want a little bit of the color from behind to show up. Right now, I've gone for something that's going to show up from the background. That's why it's a little bit warmer than this cool background here. But translucent, not translucent, transparent. No, nobody accused me of being the brightest tool in the shed, just of having the perfect face for radio and a voice to match. That looks pretty good. We're getting this mix here. As I pull on it, it's going to pull some of that other paint in with it. The color that I used in order to get this right here is a mixture of burnt sienna and unbleached titanium white. That's what gives it that warm feel. Let's go ahead. We've got to grab another brush real quick and get some dark color pulled in so that we can use this makeup brush to pull it. And just go ahead and get it right here. I don't finish off the detail with this brush. All I'm doing is just pulling it over so that I can switch over to that brush and get it working that way. Is it just me, Shem Gabriel? I don't know. Is it just you what? And OMG, that's cool. That I love. I love seeing something like that. Thank you. Thank you for commenting that. And let me know by liking and subscribing. You guys can end up seeing all kinds of paintings. And if you go to my Instagram, you can find a link to my Instagram, or you just look up Sean Nathan Ricks, spelled S-E-A-N. Sean Nathan Ricks on my Instagram. You'll see 824 paintings. And I'm the creator of the iMagi Kingdom of Thor card game. So if you ever go to imagicardgame.com, I have a lot of artists working with me on there, including the guy who taught everyone what dragons look like. That guy's name is Rob Carlos. I always name drop him because, well, Rob's probably one of the coolest guys I know. He knows exactly what dragons look like, and he knows how to paint them. All I'm doing is cheating by doing an awful lot of this silhouette work. The silhouette work is going to give me the opportunity to not have to put in a ton of detail here, and yet make it look like there's detail. And then where I don't want the silhouette, I'm just going to pull in this warm color of the burnt sienna and the unbleached titanium That's going to give me this so it'll contrast from the cooler background. I did subscribe and like. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, we're going to really kind of get a lot of this. I think I'll come in with a highlight line once that's dry. Then I'll just end up putting that in there. But mostly, let's just fix some of these details here. As we get closer and closer to the body, we're going to have some veins coming through the wings like this. And it's going to be a little darker. Out here, it's going to be lighter. In fact, I think the edge of the wings, right along here and here and here, I'm going to bring a much lighter tone on that and make that jump out. Contrast's one of the coolest things that you can add. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's get a little bit more. Okay. Some unbleached titanium and some burnt sienna. Okay, let's see if it works now. There we go. You can see that gives us the warm tone, and if it's too warm, if it's too bright, we'll just pull it into the painting like this, along the inside of the wing, because it's right here that's going to be the lightest. It's got to match up here now as well, so we'll just kind of pull that through. And you can start to see how that contrast really gets sharp, and it makes it so that it's going to pop out from the background. And even if I color over some of the stuff that I already had, it doesn't really matter. But now we can come up here and let's maybe just get some of that picked out through here. Well, that was a little clumpy on that paint. Let's fix that. And then a little bit down through here, just enough so that it's showing some definition. Maybe along there as well. Although technically, the giant sword. How big would someone have to be to wield that sword? Hey, tell me in the comments what kind of creature you think carried the sword and killed the dragon. I'd love to hear. I like to find out what people think and how it makes their imaginations go wild with what kind of creatures it is that I'm creating, or hear the stories behind it. And sometimes I take your suggestions and I'll end up putting it as the information on a card inside the card game. So, yeah, let's get there. Oh, the website for the card game, just in case you guys wanted to know, that's imagicardgame.com. That's IMAGI. Or if what you'd prefer is you want to end up getting a limited edition print of one of my pieces of work, you can always take a look at my Instagram. It's just instagram.com/Sean Nathan Ricks. That's SeanNathanRicks. Let's put a little bit more highlight right there. And right there. That way we've got, and maybe we'll put it right there. I think that's a good idea. We'll pop it in parts of the wing here as well. There we go. Oh, that's looking good. All right, hey, it's popping out here. Now, if you don't know how to paint these things, if you haven't got any kind of an idea, what you want to do is paint your background first. You're going to paint back there and then move forward. Oops, we've got a problem. I'll show you guys the problem. You see this right up here? Well, it's new enough as far as paint, I can probably get it to disappear just by pulling it up with a wet brush. Yeah, there we go. Now it's out. Now it's gone. See? Well, mostly gone. And then we'll just move it in, get that to feel like it's part of the sunlight. That's mostly gone. It's good enough. If you ever make any kind of mistakes, you can always pull it out with just a little bit of a wet brush. Let's put some highlights along the spine of the creature here. And like I said, why don't you guys give me an idea in the comments, what kind of a creature would have wielded that giant sword in order to kill a dragon? Just how big would it have had to have been? What might it have been? I love hearing these stories. These stories are really cool and important to me. Now, all I've done here is I've just brought in some of that titanium white, well, it's unbleached titanium white and burnt sienna. Okay, let's get a little bit more burnt sienna in that titanium white. We're going to add just a touch of cobalt blue in it. Just a touch. And then maybe some Payne's Gray. And I want that because I'm trying to get a different color down here. It's not quite dark enough. Let's get it, make it a little bit more liquid. Here we go. I want to get a mixing tone down through here. And that mixing tone is going to give me some definition as we go along up. Maybe even get a little bit of a hold here. Maybe down on the bottom of the jaw. Yeah, I think that works really well. And right along there. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this brush to just kind of mix it through. And the brush is going to give me the detail and the definition. Because I don't have to do a lot of detail if I get the brush to do it for me. Clean the brush off and then just go straight for that black. Just some real dark permanent black. And just some light swishes down here. There we go. Bring those through. Get the body of where the dragon is. Separate it from the sword a bit. Maybe get this ridge line along it. There we go, that looks good. Okay, so we're doing really well here. That's pulling it through. You can see how getting that silhouette in makes a big difference. But what about the tail? Well, the tail hasn't got any kind of definition down here. So let's bring it through. And then let's go the other way with it too. Now you'll notice that I put my pinky on there to hold myself against it. And I'm just going to bring across here. And you'll say, well, wait a minute. Up here on the dragon, it's all kinds of spiky. How are you going to make it so that it's spiky down there? It's easy. As long as you've got your black, make sure your black's real liquid, but just strong enough. And then just pop along the top of what you already made. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm not looking for perfection out of this painting. I'm looking for more or less just getting the idea. I want the feel, not the perfection of it. And if I want to separate the sword really well, I want to get it so the sword will pop out. I'm going to pop into my Payne's Gray and a little bit of cobalt blue. And then we'll just pull it down. And then suddenly your sword starts to pop out. Separate it from the dragon there. And there. And now for the fun part. I've got to get myself some titanium white. Just going to use some cheap stuff. My sword always pops out. That's terrible. Funny, but terrible. Just terrible. All right, now moving on. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just going to use some titanium white along here. Give me a little more definition along the sword. I'm just using a makeup brush. Just lightly pull it. And then down here, I'm going to create some mist. I'm going to bring that mist right over here as well. It's much the same method as when I made the clouds, so it makes it rather easy. And then over here. Okay, all right. That's some serious talent. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's some pretty serious humor you got there, too. That was just plain funny. Dirty and awful, but still funny. I like it. All right. Now I'm just doing some small circles with this makeup brush. And the paint's kind of thick. It's going to pull anything that's already wet on the background, and it's going to pull it through like this. And then later on, we're going to come down here and we're going to add a little bit more detail. And the nice thing about these kinds of paintings is you don't have to go through every single detail. The human eye is designed to pick up patterns. It's going to find the patterns in this automatically and just kind of put them in there for us. So I don't have to worry about it too much, although I do want to bring a little bit more mist down here and maybe some along the bottom there. Now, I don't want to make everything overflow or overloaded down here, but I do want to make it pop out a little bit. I'm going to take another makeup brush and I'm going to take some unbleached titanium. That's that kind of yellow color right there. And I'm just going to pull it in places that I want a highlight at. Goes ahead and it makes it work. Maybe we got just a little bit over there. Then I'm gonna use a nice flat brush. I'll dip straight into some permanent black. I'll just use the edge of it here and pull in certain spots to get the land mass of the swamp to pop out a little. It really brings it forward, makes it so that there's a little bit more for the dragon to sit on here. Maybe pull across there. The nice thing about having that mist is the black will be kind of diffused out there. There we go, we're getting that. Now, what about weeds? We'll just kind of pull up. We've got to make that a little bit wet. You know what? Switch over to a different brush. We're going to switch over to one of these other makeup brushes here. I'm going to get some really wet black on there. Pull it across my cleaning towel and I'll pull out some weeds and maybe the shadow of the dragon. Drag across it a bit. Let's go back to our weeds. And we're in the home stretch on this painting. We're almost done. After I get the weeds the way that I want them to in this swamp, then I'm going to come through and put a few more of these dead trees in it in places. And I think I need, just dropped the brush, I think I need a little more shadow. Just an indication. A little too much in some spots, so I'm going to just take this brush and I'm just going to pick out some lines across it. Yeah, looks pretty good that way. All right, why don't we move on to some trees? This is the easiest part. All I have to do is go straight into the black, just pull it down. And I don't care if my hand shakes a little bit as I go along, I'm just going to use that in the painting. And they're all dead. Maybe some of them have got, I mean, these are certainly not Bob Ross happy little trees, are they? Not unless this is where we hid the happy little bodies. All right. Those look pretty good. Let's bring one straight down to here. It's a little too heavy there, so we'll bring it down. Give it more of a trunk. Let's It's got a couple of offshoots here. Some over here in the background. Oh, paint's not wet enough. It's starting to drag. All right, anybody who would like a limited edition print of this, I do about 25 of them. They're $30 each as long as you're in the United States. It's an 8x10 print. It is signed by me, and you can always take a look at the description of any of my other videos and be able to do it. I mean, everything's done with the same name, Sean Nathan Ricks, so you can find that almost anywhere. You do a Google search of that, you'll find all kinds of information for me. Let's just bring that, we want to make that a little bit darker right through there. A little heavier. And yeah, gosh, we're almost done. Bring that tree down, and there we go. We've got now, admittedly, this is a pretty easy painting. This is not going to be super complicated if what you're trying to do it. You start in the background. You're going to move forward from there. So when you do your background, try and get yourself this this transition. Just get yourself a nice gray. I use giant makeup brushes to get them really soft. You want to have one that's dry. You want to have another one that's wet. And then when you're putting all of the paint on it in the first place, you're going to use a couple of brushes that are great big ones, and you just go all over the canvas with it. I think it'd be a good idea. Pick out just a touch of highlight along the edge. That works. Nothing too extreme. Maybe a little bit of detail right there. Doesn't really matter what we add at this stage because it's mostly done. A little more highlight in the transparent areas of the wings. Yeah, time to sign it. Okay, just gotta mix up my white really, really thin. Gonna use this same really nice brush here to sign it. Just that one. I'm gonna come over here and just go. Maybe get a little bit more on there. Okay, some more thin white. And then the last thing I always do is I put a year in here. Let's just put it here. And this is painting number 73 for the year of 2024. It's going to go on my Instagram, and I'll make another video of it being complete. Oh, looks like there's a little bit that I needed to do right here. Painting's almost done. Painting's done. There it is. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. You guys have a great day, and if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. Oh, you know what? Let's give you guys a little tour, shall we? Let's give you guys a tour of the studio and the gallery. Pop out here. There you go. Thanks for tuning in.